Hi there.
Hi, welcome back to Curious Collection. I'm Will.
I'm Cinnamon.
So today I woke up early, as always.
At like what, 4?
Somewhere a little after 4. And I noticed that I'm tired and I'm feeling a little burnout. And so just to introduce what's been going on is that, we told you guys a couple weeks ago that we're working on diversifying our business.
Mm-hmm.
It started out with just our main Curious Collection store. And then back at the end of July, we started up a second eBay store, and we put all of our print ad material in that store, along with a bunch of magazines.
And YouTube.
And then at the same time, we started a YouTube channel. So now we have 3 potential revenue streams. Now we've got both of our stores, which are making sales, and we're shipping stuff out of both stores pretty much every day now.
Yeah.
And then the YouTube channel, we put up a video. We try to do 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. And so that's a lot. The YouTube channel is not monetized, not because we wouldn't appreciate a little extra, because we can't seem to get the AdSense figured out so that we can actually get monetized for it. Google says that, it just doesn't, for whatever reason, it just doesn't work for us. So.
Yeah. And
they have no customer service line. So that's an entirely different video, but there's no way to get a hold of somebody to help you through that process.
Right. And then we're kind of feeling like eBay alone isn't cutting it right now.
Right. Even between the 2 stores.
Right. So we still need to diversify even further than that to make sure that we're getting the sales that we need in order to support the household.
Right. So we started 3 weeks ago, we started doing Whatnot to try to clear out some of the print material, some of the ephemera, some of the photographs, some of the postcards that were just way in excess of what I can literally list in my entire life. And again, if I'm going to take the time to sit down, do a listing on eBay, it might take 3 to 5 minutes to do one listing. Do I want to do that on a $3 item or a $30 item? Right. So if I'm going to be focusing on those listings, it needs to justify the time that I'm putting into it. So we started doing the Whatnot. We've done 3 shows a week for 3 weeks. Monday's show. Yeah. We started at 3:00 in the afternoon, went all the way till 7:00 at night.
Yeah.
Then yesterday we had 40 orders to ship, and it's wiping me out. It's taking a lot. And so I'm struggling to find a balance. The burnout is a direct result of all of these extra hours that I'm putting in. And so my concern is that, we can, if we put all of our eggs into the eBay basket, it just isn't paying. And yet I don't want to take time away from that. I don't want to take time away from our regular listings, our regular, I certainly can't take time away from customer service. I can't take time away from shipping. So there's some stuff that we've put on a list here, but, at the end of the video, hold through. But, listen to what we've got to say, what we're planning on doing, some ideas that we have, and then throw some ideas down in the box. What do you do to help avoid burnout, to better manage your time, to work multiple platforms? So, we're at the point where I'm talking about 4 different revenue streams. I know there's some people that have their eBay store, their Posh store, their Etsy store, their YouTube channel.
Right, Mercari, Facebook
they're all
Marketplace.
over the place. Yeah. How do you manage all of these different things? And do you feel like you're effective as you should be in all of these areas? Because that's where I'm really struggling is yes, the Monday night store, that Whatnot show, we did $300 in that show. So it was amazing. 4 hours, $300. I'm super happy with it. That's what we would normally do in one day on eBay. Right. So to be able to do that in one day on Whatnot, add that to, the close to $300 on eBay, that helped our month because our eBay store is down $2,000 over last month. So that really is one of those things that is, I feel like I have to put 100% into everything that I do. And how do you manage that without managing to run yourself into the ground.
Right. Well, and don't forget that there's family obligations. There are,
Yeah. So the other night we had this long show. It was not intended to go late, but people were buying stuff. And
right. So how do you say no when
right.
people are like, hey, I'm actively buying a bunch of stuff you're putting out. So can you put out more? And, we slot our time for Whatnot from 3 to 4 o'clock. That's the time of our show. Because at 3:40, 3:30, the boy gets home from school and okay, now we're going to start, spending family time. I've got to work on homework with him. And then we work on dinner and then we clean up and that, you know what I mean? So like there's again, we have routines because that's who we are.
It's a busy night normally.
Right.
So
then our Whatnot show, went until like 7:30 that night instead. So I'm like trying to help him run the show and then also like talking to the boy and being like, sorry, dude, like fend for yourself tonight because we're working on this. We're making money. And he's like, okay.
He's a high schooler, so he is perfectly capable of microwaving dinner.
Yes, we have leftovers in the fridge, so yes, no, he has no problem doing that. It's just that, we like to do dinner together. That's one of the priorities of our life.
Yeah, that's important for our family. The other thing that we did recently was that Sunday is normally our off day. We really try to focus on making Sunday about family, taking the day off, not doing work. Sometimes we'll do some shipping just to keep the shipping count
and
slow.
Customer service. We make sure to take care of that too.
We're not doing listings. We're not doing photos. We're really trying to minimize the amount of time that we spend working. And our son had a competition with his military
so thing, he was gone this weekend anyway.
So we spent the entire day doing taxes.
Yeah, wasn't that fun? Taxes are just super awesome.
That's team building exercise, I think.
It is. It's really good for our marriage. So, but I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. Right. So how do you balance the fact that you just have to do it all the time?
Yeah.
So some of the things that we do want to talk about with trying to balance and to rationalize all of these things that you have to do is you have to realize that there's only so many hours in the day. Like you. Yeah, I
recently heard somebody talk about, well, you might have to put more hours in. And
right.
And I don't know that that's necessarily a reasonable approach, depending on what your situation is. If you have family obligations, we are a married couple. We do spend our days together.
And that's wonderful for us.
Right.
If you were doing this
and
alone,
you were working outside of the house, though.
When I came home from work, I would expect to be able to spend some time with you. That would be when you were working outside when we were both working outside the home, when we were off, like I was expecting time with my husband. Right, that's part of why I married you.
And you would get kind of upset if I had to bring work home. Yes. So schedules and reports and stuff.
Because I'd be like, okay, like when do we get to have us time? Because if we don't have time to reconnect and to grow together, then we grow apart. And that's not healthy for a relationship. You have to invest the time in the relationship. Luckily, we work together, so we can be working on our relationship while we're working on work. So that's good for us.
Doesn't that sound amazing?
Right? But we connect when we go outside and we take our walk every morning. And I am a big proponent of the fact that you do have to do some exercise, even if it's just a walk. It doesn't have to be strenuous. It doesn't have to be going to the gym, and it doesn't have to be running. It can just be going outside and taking a walk together. And that's something that we do. We're able to get out into nature. We're able to breathe. We're able to get out of the office and the home and, get some off time. Even
Right.
if we talk about work sometimes, you know, it's at least we're outside, we're exercising, and it does help to get those endorphins going and to like just start the day with a clean slate.
Right. So I see on your notes here it says that this is hard.
This is hard.
So I think that we have to acknowledge that
we do. You need to validate that, because it is so real. It is super hard, and I don't. You do have to realize it, because everyone's putting more on your plate. And you're probably the biggest person who's putting more on your plate. I know that you are the biggest person putting more on your plate. You have this
because we have to do it all. We
pressure.
We have to get it all done. So you know, the bookkeeping needs to be done. It needs to be maintained. You know, I like to check in on the bookkeeping every 2 to 3 days.
Yep.
We have an automated accounting system, so it automatically pulls transactions from the bank,
which is wonderful,
and from eBay, but the Whatnot doesn't. So we do have to manually go in and upload that data,
right?
Which I had to do last night again. Again,
we had to figure that out because that's a new process.
Right. So it was 8:30 last night, and again, I'm supposed to be done working at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I did not stop. I started early and I went until bed, basically.
Yeah.
So.
But know that it is hard, and that's why we're here and kind of talking about these things. And one, because it is important to kind of get that out of yourself and to voice those things, but then also to share that with other people who understand where you're coming from. I think that's really important. Like I said, when you were doing this by yourself, I didn't get it. So having someone else who understands what you're going through and being able to talk about those things and being able to actually help find some things that could help is really, really important. If you're just sitting there and you're bitching about stuff and nothing is getting resolved, I don't think that's so healthy. It's necessary sometimes to vent, but you kind of do have to look for something that's going to help to get you through the situation.
That's one of the biggest challenges I have, is because there might be a platform issue. So, and I'm not going to just single out eBay on platform issues. Like we sell on other platforms, there's issues. I had issues loading the YouTube video yesterday. I had issues loading listings this morning for Whatnot.
We have issues on Whatnot getting the live stream started, and so there are certainly going to be issues on all of the platforms.
And complaining about it, frankly, it doesn't do any good, because I'm just yelling into the void at that point, because these people are not listening to what I have to say, and they really don't care.
But having something where you're able to kind of help find some solutions, even if it's just a little bit of help, it's helpful, and that's kind of what we're trying to do. I do think it's really important to take breaks. When I first started working with you, we had these huge lofty goals. We were doing 50 listings a day, and we were doing it 7 days a week for 10 months. We listed 50 items a day, 7 days a week. And it was a lot. And I finally got to the point to where I was completely toasted. I'm like, I cannot possibly do this another day. I was miserable. And that's when you're like, okay, well, what do you want your day to look like? And that was huge for me to actually be like, well, I would like to, we start our day with our walk, and then we list until 12, and then we take an hour lunch. That's important to me.
Right. So I do think it's important for where we are in our business. I also think, and again, this is that crazy part of me that is super driven. I think that it was important for us to have the 10 months with the 50 listings a day, only because our store went from 2,000 active listings to 12,000.
Yeah.
And with that massive amount of inventory, our sales skyrocketed. So if you're stuck at 5 sales a day, driving up the inventory count can help.
It can. It can, absolutely.
Again, we're talking about burnout. That's why I'm burned out.
Right. So I don't think that taking an hour break in the middle of the day is a bad idea. I think it's important. And then, like he said,
and it's not just take the hour break. It's we have work time in our office. We do not eat at our desks.
No.
It's work time at the office. We break for an hour. We go and, have a hot lunch, whatever that looks like for you. But, we're able to actually turn off the office light, get out of the office, change the environment, talk about non-work things.
Right. He'll play, he likes to play Fortnite. And so, he'll play a game, a round of that. That's like a half hour. And so he's able to completely unplug from work and just veg in that way. And I'll sit there and I'll play on my phone with whatever like matchy game I'm playing, or, looking at Pinterest, whatever it is that's making me happy at that moment.
Right.
Like he said, we take Sundays off. I think that's really important too, to have a day where we don't have to focus on the daily grind. We don't list on Sundays. We don't photograph on Sundays. Like he said, yes, we ship and stuff. That doesn't bother me. And if shipping is something that really, really bothers you, then maybe taking one day off of shipping would be good for your health. Shipping doesn't bother me. Answering questions doesn't bother me.
We spend less than an hour shipping every day, so it really isn't that big of a problem.
Right. We talked about going outside. Have habits in place to help your day move more smoothly. So, he was talking about having the accounting software, right? So that helps to streamline our accounting process. Now we no longer have to do the line by line accounting that we were trying to do before. So that helps tremendously. Having those inventory systems in place. So
we're not hunting for lost inventory, which is amazing.
Right. And that's saving time so that we can then take that time and use it more wisely in other areas.
Yeah. You're really big on the to-do lists.
I am.
And on timers and alarms. So
I am. So because I can't keep it all in my head. Like I'm a little ADHD. So like if everything is just floating around in my head, I'm freaking out because I have 200 things to do. If I have a to-do list, then I can put everything in my to-do list as recurring tasks and it just pops up every day. So yes, I know that I'm going to remember to post the YouTube video on Facebook because I have a little checklist. It's in my app. I can click it off. It's done, and that helps me tremendously. When we were, putting items on Pinterest, I would set a 5-minute timer and I would just take 5 minutes. Then it's not so overwhelming.
Well, and it helps you focus your energy for 5 minutes.
Right.
Most people can focus on a single task for 5 minutes.
Yes.
When I worked in management, I had a rule that I didn't want a meeting that extended beyond 15 minutes. The average person's, their attention span is 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. If you have a 45-minute meeting, no one is paying attention. People are toasted
at the end. Like they don't care.
No one's paying attention.
Yeah.
They're off in la la land. They're staring at the wall. They're picking their belly button. Like seriously, they're everywhere except in the meeting. Mm-hmm. So, we try to keep those tasks short.
Yes.
So that we can be effective for bursts.
Right.
So,
having double checks in place for me personally is big also, because if I have a system in place that has those double checks, again, it saves me lots of headaches later on.
Right. So you do your listings, you put your jewelry in an envelope, and then you go back after you're done and you double check all the numbers are
because
accurate.
I screwed up. Because if you forget, I'm selling similar,
it wasn't the first time.
No, I know. I'm saying I screwed. I'm admitting my faults. Thank you, my love. But I would forget to change the SKU number, so I would I would sell similar pair of rhinestone earrings, right? And it was envelope number 4200. And so then I would sell another pair of rhinestone earrings that were most of those, same item specifics, but I would forget to change the SKU. So I would, but it wasn't 4200, it was 1200. And so I go to pull it and it's the wrong item. So now I have a double check in place. At the end of my day, I go through my listings that I've done and I go through my envelopes and I make sure that all of my envelopes are are correct, so that I haven't transposed a number. I didn't forget to change the SKU, whatever the thing is. I have that double check in place and it saves me so much trauma later on in life. Tomorrow me doesn't hate yesterday me.
Yeah.
And that's important to me.
And one of the other things is that you say that sometimes you have to say no.
You do. Sometimes you do, because you can't do it all. And that was really hard for me to accept, because I would make my to-do list and of course my to-do list is more than work. You have more ambition than day. Sometimes you do. And we're told we have to do it all, right? And I tell myself that all the time. You got to do it all. I don't know what to say. You just have to do it all. You have to keep a clean house. You have to be a great parent. You have to run your business. You have to be a good wife. You have to look good. You have to eat healthy. You have to go outside and exercise. You have so much to do. So sometimes you have to say no. So I have this to-do list, right? And once a week I'm supposed to polish the furniture. And sometimes I say no. Sometimes I skip it. And that's okay. It's okay if I didn't polish the furniture this week. It's okay if I didn't clean the fan blades this week. So it's okay to say no to something. Say that with me. It's okay to say no. Wow. It's real. Say no. So get sleep. You do. Eat well. You exercise. Do have to get sleep. I will stress that, because I was one of the worst people who's I had a really long day today, so I just want to sit here and veg out on my phone, and then the next thing I know, it's 2:00 in the morning. And then I get up at 6 in the morning and I'm just a piece of crap because I can't function like that. But then at the end of the night, I'm doing it again. And I'm saying, but it's been such a long day and I just want to veg out. And then it's 2:00 in the morning again. Right. One of the challenges I have, again, like I started out with, is that, I wake up 2 hours before my alarm. And I went to bed late. So, and of course it's anxiety driven because I know I've got a Whatnot show tonight. The last show is 4 hours. Yeah. I need to make sure that I'm ready. And so I probably should have done a little bit more work last night, even though I was working until You worked until 8:30 at night. There's only so many hours in the day. Either that or I have to be willing to say no. Right. And say no, we're gonna have to cut off. We can't have a 4-hour show. But again, when you've got some paying customers, it's super hard. It's hard. So, it was hard for me to sign off the other night because I'm yes. Do I have another thing I could sell? But you do. You have to go to bed at night, so do some things to kind of help yourself unwind in a different way. I have a bedtime mode on my phone that turns everything black and white at 9:00 at night. And it's weird, but it doesn't, you can't play your games that way. We got a lot on this list. I know we do. Okay, we'll move on. The having some grace for yourself. It's okay to tell yourself that you're doing a good job and you don't have to be perfect. One of the things that we had talked about earlier this morning and you had never heard was the, good is the enemy of great. And so we actually talk about sometimes you're doing research on a piece and I'll see that you're spending 25 minutes researching a single item. Right. And I'm like, that's a piece of garbage. What are you doing? It's a $15 to $20 item. It's because I'm no, I need to find out more. There's more information about this. And sometimes you have to stop yourself and you just have to say, you know what? It's good enough. Right. Like,
did you get good photos? Did you create a decent description?
You got your item specifics in there.
Did you put in accurate shipping? Did you put in
just move on?
Right. Like, if you created a listing that will sell the product, you don't need to know the year that it was invented. And there's
another saying that I heard though, and that was doing something good is crud. Now I don't remember it, but basically,
you can't just make stuff up.
I know, right? But basically, like, because of course, like, doing something perfect is the way that you have to do it all, and sometimes just doing something good enough is good enough, and then you can move on because you can't. Our perfectionism. This is me talking to me. Is sometimes it's detrimental. Like, you have to accept the fact that not everything in life is going to be perfect, but you still have to get it done. So just do the best you can and then move on.
Right. You've got on here that you need to maybe spend some time on a hobby.
That's something that I'm actually trying to focus a little more on because, like, again, I play my phone, right? I play my little games and stuff, but that's not a hobby. And that whole perfectionism thing is something that I struggle with in my hobbies because if I'm not doing it perfect, I don't want to do it. If I suck at something, I'm not going to do that, right? I can't paint. So painting isn't something that I do. But you know what? I've gone to those paint and pours and I've had a really good time, even if it wasn't perfect. And sometimes you have to kind of like just have something that you're doing just for the sake of having fun with it. It doesn't have to be making you money. It doesn't have to be Etsy quality that you're going to go monetize. It can just be like, okay, so I used to bullet journal, right? Until I worked it so hard that it had to be perfect and then I couldn't enjoy it anymore. But I have like this little calendar here, my little mouse pad calendar for the week. And so I just took some washi tape and some stickers and I like just decorated some of my pages with like some little quotes that told me to like keep going. It's okay. Just something for the fun of being creative. It was just for the fun of being creative. Yeah.
Or you can go fishing.
Right.
Or you could go for a hike.
Yes.
Or go to the gym and hit the weights.
Whatever it is that you're doing that is strictly for the fun of doing it.
I'm not playing with washi tape.
You don't have to play with washi tape. I like washi tape.
We talk about do what you love. And that's in everything, but especially in this type of work. If you don't find it interesting, it's really hard to get motivated to do your job for the day. We watch all the videos that are out there. We see all the content, and the idea that you're only going to focus on the top 5 brands or the top 5 items. If you love fashion, then absolutely go after those fashionista type items. Right. Those, handbags, the shoes, the clothes, the exotic high-end watches, like absolutely
whatever
go
it
for
is
that.
that you find fun.
I don't care about fashion. I wear a $5 Walmart shirt. Like, seriously, for me, that's miserable.
Yeah.
But doing the research on historical artifacts, antiquities.
I'm already falling asleep.
Right. That's what engages me. So, I can sit down, even though I'm tired, even though I'm feeling burnout, and I can look at some old documents and it engages me and it gets me going. It really does.
It does. He gets excited about it. And I'll be sitting here listing my jewelry and stuff and he'll like stop me. He'll be like, oh my goodness, look at this. And I'm like, that's awesome, honey.
I was going through a box yesterday and I had to stop what I was doing and I was like, you see this? Do you see this? This is an executive order from the president, Harry Truman. And this is like, amazing.
That's nice, honey.
You're like, which president was he? When was that?
Right?
You're like, I don't care.
No. But then at the same time, I'll be listing stuff and I'll stop him and I'll be like, oh my goodness, look at this piece of jewelry. This is amazing. This is a book piece. This is, and he doesn't care, but that's what keeps me going. It's really important that you find some passion in what you're doing. because that helps so much. It really does. Love what you do.
Yeah. So I'm feeling a little bit burnout today.
Yes.
But a big part of it's just the fact that I haven't given myself time to rest.
Right.
So again, you've heard everything. If you've made it this far into the video, you've heard all of our suggestions about what it is that I should be doing so that I am not feeling as burnout. Let us know what it is that you do so that you don't get burnout, because we know that for a lot of people, reselling is a part-time job. That means you're working a full-time job.
So you're already doing a full-time job, and then you're trying to do this also. Right. You know, and I mean, hats off to you. Seriously, kudos, because again, you have all of these other responsibilities too. So you're doing really, really well. You're doing awesome. And sometimes you need to tell yourself that too. I am very, very proud of the work that you do in this business. It's a lot. And you know,
thank you. I'm feeling it. So again, let us know in the comment section what it is that you do to keep from getting burnout. Are you feeling burnout? You know, tell us about it. Like and subscribe the video. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks so much, guys. Good luck to you out there.